Assalamu alaikum and hello, my dearest Khadijah. I'm so glad that we get to have this conversation today.
Alhamdulillah, me too. I'm super excited.
So you're one of the awesome ladies who joined Reclaim and Rise, our flagship program, and you got some results for yourself. But before we kind of look into that, I wanna kind of take us back, right? So I want to know, and I want you to share with our viewers, what was the number one challenge that you were facing before you even reached out to me? Where were you before you reached out?
To be honest, I was at a confusion. I was confused. Um, I was, I think I was also not loving myself, which was kind of like the tip of the iceberg. That was like, nah, I need help. Um, I didn't feel comfortable being me for the first time in like a long time. Like, I admitted to myself that I wasn't comfortable being me, and it was something that I had to do about it. I didn't feel like I was a good person or that I was capable of being a good person. I felt like, if I have to say, like a slave to other people's words, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It felt really, really bad.
So in this space where you felt like a slave to other people's words, you didn't really love yourself, you didn't really like yourself very much. What were some of the tangible results? What were some of the things that you could see in your life as that was happening as a result of being in that emotional space?
I was crying all the time, more than usual. Um, I'm fine with crying, but like my crying was just like, sis, what's going on? I was also like doubting my capabilities as a mother because I have a toddler, and it was just like I couldn't see myself as my son's mother. I saw myself as someone who was going to be a stranger to my son. Wow. When he grew up.
Wow. Wow.
It felt like really complicated. Like, I felt like who was going to be able to help me because I was so complicated. I questioned those things.
Yeah. And so when we got on a call together and we had that initial conversation, what were some of the things, I'm really curious, what were some of the things that came through your mind as someone who thought, who can help me? What were some of the things that you thought that was going on in your head as we were talking in that breakthrough call?
Oof. I was like, am I really going to tell my all to this person who I just met? But it was like, what do I have to lose? At the same time, when at that moment, when you asked me, I said something, and then you said, is that an indication that you don't love yourself? And I said, yeah, it is. And that sting was just like, did you really just tell someone that? Is that really how you feel about yourself, Khadijah? Those are that was one of the things. And then another thing was like, it's like a therapy session, a quick therapy session. But it was like, are you gonna go somewhere with this, or is this one of your venting sessions that you're gonna be like, that was nice, but I'm still with these issues.
Right. And that, do you know what? I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because it's so easy. It's easy to talk. Right?
Yes, it is.
It's easy to say, oh, this is going on in my life. This is not going right in my life. It's not, or even have that in your head. You might not be saying it verbally, but having it in your head and still be in that space for weeks, months, and years. And so it's incredible that you got on the call and you're just like, is this going to be another one of those?
Yeah.
So what was it then that led you to decide that it's not going to be one of those and you're going to do what you need to do? what led you to that internal decision, to that decision?
SubhanAllah. That's an interesting question. So when we had the breakthrough call, and I know like I sounded a little iffy, but I knew I wanted help. And then you told me, sister, make istikhara. I was like, yes, istikhara is the answer.
Yeah.
Because I had made istikhara like a couple weeks before that for something, and it turned out in my favor. Until this day, like it's an actual lesson for me. But
Mm-hmm.
um, when you said that, I was just like, no, yeah, I really should make istikhara. But at the same time, it was just the way you were asking me questions that I've never been asked those questions, and I've never stated those answers explicitly,
Yeah.
like outward. I've written them down, I've thought them, but never said them to
Right.
anyone.
And what you said about istikhara, and we will have some, we do have some non-Muslims who are watching this too. And istikhara is a prayer of guidance. And it's interesting that, we got to the point in the conversation, and, you knowing that istikhara was, the next step, seeking that prayer to God to guide you in that decision. And
Mm.
it almost sounds to me though that before you got on the call, you had already been in a frame of mind and a decision, you had come to a particular decision to change things for yourself in some sort of way.
Yeah, I'm actually smiling at the fact that you said that. Because at that time, I didn't realize that there was something in me that pushed me or propelled me forward to be like, I'm gonna change, or this is where change begins, inshallah. Um, but yes, you're right. It was something in me, and I think it was the hope that I wanted to suppress, that to say that I didn't have, but I did have that. Also, I was like, what could be the bad of this? Like, where would it not help me?
Yeah.
Anything that I learned from it, little or big, it would still be a lesson. But inshallah, it's gonna work.
Yeah. Yeah. I, in hindsight, having, been in that space where you were, and then getting on the call, and then having to make istikhara, and there being that little bit of a delay in you getting started with us in the program. In hindsight, would you have recommended that someone has that firm decision that they're going to change before they get on the call, maybe even make istikhara then, and then get on the call? Would you advise that?
I would and I wouldn't, because like you said, people are different.
Yeah.
So yes, someone could make that decision before the call and make it start and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, some people need the time, some people need to question, and some people need to get answers for themselves before even making istikhara. So I would say, like, you could even ask yourself, if if I say like this right now, will staying like this help me in the future, or do I really want something that is going to help me? And this is it's a real fact. Like, do you want to stay where you are, or do you want something or someone to actually guide you to the change that you want? Because I truly believe that everyone has that, even if it's a tiny little light of hope inside them.
Yeah.
I believe that everyone has it in them, and like, you know, don't let your thoughts overtake you.
I love that, Khadija. I love that those questions, because I know that there will be people who are watching this who either may have booked a call, are planning to book a call, to kind of explore how we might be able to support them, and they overthink it, and they think themselves to death, right? Question themselves to
Yeah.
the point of being stuck and staying stuck, right? But for
Hmm.
you went from this space that you were in, we got on the call, and then you joined the program. And I remember actually at the beginning, you were like, tell me, what were you thinking when you first opened up the first module, right? What were your thoughts?
I was honestly excited. Whether or like I wasn't even thinking of I'm gonna change. Like I wasn't thinking of that big picture. I was
Yeah.
like, subhanallah, I'm actually in LaYinka Sanni's class. You know that type of that type of excitement. Um, but at the same time, I was like, your way of saying, okay, you're like you're taking this step, all right,
Mm,
and as a Muslim, say Bismillah.
mm,
And I was like, oh no, this is some real stuff. She didn't just jump in. She
mm.
said, say Bismillah, focus on your internal, you know, actions and get ready to take this step forward. And as you say, it was like a surgery. It was like a surgery. And to this day, when I re-listen to the modules, I'm like, oh my gosh, she did it again. And she don't even know she's doing it. But if you're not in it, you won't know. SubhanAllah, like, SubhanAllah.
You
No
know,
joke.
shut up, hold it down. I love the description of the surgery. I mean, there are a few clients who've said that, a few ladies for the program who've said, man, this is like going to surgery. And you go deep,
Yeah.
go there.
hmm
Right?
And I see that now, like why that's important. Oh my God.
So specifics in terms of how did the program help you? How did the program help you change your thoughts and feelings about yourself? Because at the beginning you weren't in a great place with regards to how you felt about yourself. So how did the program help you specifically?
So in the beginning, or even before that, my life was just I thought in my mind, and I was sure that if I wasn't perfect, I was nothing.
Mm,
That's where I was.
wow.
When joining the program, it wasn't a module itself, but you mentioned the aspect, the the fact that we're all human.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? What's she talking about?
Mm,
Yeah, like I'm human, you're human, everyone is human, believe it or not. So I had that mentality, like, no, I can't be just human. I have to be human and perfect, but that's not a thing. That doesn't go together.
right.
So like wallahi, when I had that realization, I was like, yo, I'm human. I'm human. And it started from there. Like
Yeah.
it started with me changing how I thought about perfection and
Mm,
how I changed perfection in my mind. And slowly but surely, I was like, nah, I don't gotta be perfect. I really don't have to be perfect. But what I do have to be is human, and I have to treat myself as a human
man, that's
because
so
that's how Allah
cool.
made me. Yeah, subhanallah.
And just
Wallahi.
that shift from telling yourself you need to be human and perfect to embracing your humanity and all that comes with it.
Mhm.
What were things that changed in your life and were different in your life as a result of that?
I was able to like leave things that I knew I couldn't control in
Mm,
a safe manner.
mm-hmm,
Um, for example, like when I made a mistake, I actually had a discussion with my husband once. I had made a mistake to him, and he, we talked about it. And at that moment, usually, and this was just at the beginning. Usually, I would like cry about it and be like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. It's all my fault. Everything's my fault." Um, but at that moment, my husband told me, you know, I didn't like this or I felt this way about it. And at that moment, I was like, okay, so I did this wrong. SubhanAllah, next time I gotta change that. How can I change that?
right.
And when I tell you, LaYinka, till this day, it has strengthened my relationship with my husband because we don't have that issue anymore.
Wow.
I didn't. It's not like at that moment I was like, I'm gonna change forever. But no, I said I made this mistake. I'm sorry, Harbi. I'm sorry, my love. But internally I was like, I'm gonna change that. Um, Inshallah, I'm gonna try my best to change that. But I didn't need to be like, Khadijah, what's wrong with you? Why would you? It's always you. It's
Right,
always you.
right,
No.
right. So that is a massive distinction right there, because a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
time when we think about change and what is necessary for us to change, it's often in the guise of I must beat myself up with those. What's wrong with you? Why this? Why that? In order for
Right.
me to make the change that I want. But that's not what happened there, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a massive internal shift because that
Yeah.
changes output, right?
Yes, it is, and it felt so uncomfortable. Comfortable. It was comfortable, and my husband was just looking at me like, "You good? Are you going?" But I think he saw that too. He just didn't say anything. So finally, I was like, "Yes, yes."
It worked.
It really did. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
That's amazing. So
Yeah.
what would you say some of the greatest lessons and insights besides being human that you got and you gained during the program?
That's a hard one. I think learning about my values
Mm,
and learning about other people's values, um, because it gave me a clearer picture of why I might have been clashing with my loved ones, and
right.
it showed me that you don't need to clash with them, like internally or externally. You can affirm that, okay, he or she values this, this, and this. Alhamdulillah, okay, that's fine. But we can agree to disagree, you know?
Yeah.
So that was one of those things. And also when it came to confidence and how you said confidence legit, it's like you can get into it and out of it like
Just like that.
right away. Yeah, just like that. Um, but at the same time, like internal confidence
Yeah.
is part of knowing that you're worthy because Allah made you.
Mm,
You know, I had to write some of these things down. Like, um, for example, when you talked about being worthy, I had to write down the things that Allah has given me that I know I've been given since birth that I may have not affirmed for myself. And when I wrote them down, I was like, I'm living by this. What? I know this is true.
right.
MashaAllah, tabarakallah.
That's amazing, and that's powerful. That's powerful.
Yeah.
Because we go through life not even acknowledging ourselves, not affirming ourselves. And then all of a sudden we think that these, positive affirmations or like in the mirror will suddenly start to work just by, without doing the groundwork, you know, and,
Right.
and you remember in the program where I'm saying like the groundwork needs to be done in order for those positive affirmations to actually do their job.
Yeah.
It's one thing to say you're amazing, you're strong, you're this, and then it's another thing to actually believe
Yes.
it.
Oh my God. Yes, that's so true. It
Right.
gets me every time. It makes me think like subhanAllah, like, oh my God, it's that simple. But it is really amazing.
Were you surprised at the length of time, the 8 weeks in which you were able to get your growth, your transformation? Did that surprise you?
It definitely surprised. It definitely surprised. I was like, 2 months? Wait. And LaYinka, like the nostalgia I have for this program, I'm like, nah, it can't only be 2 months. Where am I gonna go after that? So yeah, it did surprise me. It really did. But I kind of saw the reason why it was 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And I like that you said that all you need is 8 weeks. Like you have a choice
Mm,
to commit to the 8 weeks and give it your all,
yeah.
if this is really what you want, and you'll get the results that you want. So
And your testimony
it's
to that.
awesome. Yep, definitely. Definitely. Alhamdulillah.
Which is fabulous, and it makes me, you know how I get emotional, but it makes me so, I feel so grateful. And I'm actually curious to know what for you has been your greatest area of growth through this program. What's been your greatest area of growth?
Do you mean the modules or just
Just in your
with
life,
myself?
in your life.
Mm, I think motherhood.
Mm.
Oh my God, motherhood.
Tell us a
I
bit
used
more
to
about
beat
that.
myself up. I used to beat myself up so much about being a mother.
Right.
Um, just to give you a before and after. Before I even started the program, I was like, maybe the people who are saying you can't be a good mother, maybe they're right. Maybe the doubts that people have in me, maybe they're right, because I mean, I don't even know myself really.
Wow.
Um, but motherhood has been the biggest area of growth because I look at my toddler now and I'm like, I'm bound to be a great mother. With all the mistakes I make, with all the tears I may have to go through, with all, the hard work I have to do, I'm gonna be a good mother. And LaYinka, from day one, I was the big breakthrough call that I had with you. I was like, and I'm sitting right now. I'm sitting in the same spot that I had the breakthrough call with you, just so I can remember how it was for me.
Okay.
And yeah, I remember me thinking to myself while you were asking me the questions, like, Khadijah, how are you going to be a great mother with all of these problems and complications of your emotions and your mind? But subhanallah, the same people who say, um, you're too soft to be a good mother. You're going to have all these kids, but you still have your own problems. Alhamdulillah, with all of my problems, I'm working through them. And when my kids see me going through them, they're going to become better. And I'm going to help them become better. Like, I wouldn't have been able to say that without being in this program. And wallahi, like I said before, you got to be in it to know. You really have to just be in it to know. Alhamdulillah.
Wow, that moves me deeply. That moves me deeply, especially the fact that you're in that same spot. That's transformation. Girl. Like that's transformation for reals.
Yeah, it feels like a reality TV show. Where the camera's at? Stop.
My goodness. So tell me about so I know that it's changed your relationship with your son and your motherhood. How has it changed other areas of your life in terms of you growing within yourself and within yourself as a mom? How has this kind of like had a ripple effect in other areas of your life?
Um, I know I mentioned my husband earlier,
Mm,
but even though my relationship with my husband, it's it's a stable relationship, alhamdulillah. Um, but I feel like I've had to create that in my home,
mm,
um, because even though alhamdulillah, my husband is a good guy and things like that, I thought all the problems had to do with me, but no, it's a two-person relationship.
yeah.
There's always going to be some type of um, miscommunications that you have to fix. But I think doing these modules and with this program, I've been able to think deeply about the actions I'm doing and then relay that to my husband, have a discussion about it, and say, we're doing this, but subhanAllah, we have to think about this.
Mm,
And it wasn't in an outburst of, you're doing this so wrong. Why would you do that?
mm,
Because I didn't want it to be like that, and I chose, for us to speak about these things. And even though sometimes my son, if something happens and I'm mad about it, my husband's like, he's just a kid, let him be. And I'm
mm.
like, you know what? We're gonna talk about this. And we actually have a sit down and talk about these things. And the end result is positive. Even if it's just a little change, it's positive.
Yeah.
Um, with my parents as well. Oh my God. Like, I love my parents dearly, but they were, I was raised in a way that, being the first child, I was criticized constantly, and I had to fix that on my own. I couldn't just blame it on them,
Yeah.
because I have to give it to them that wallahi they gave it their best to raise me and my sisters and brothers.
Yeah.
So being respectful in the way I show them that I'm changing in a positive way, um, expressing my emotions in a way that's not gonna make them like, oh really, you're gonna do that again?
Mm.
But alhamdulillah.
It's always fascinating to me that working on yourself, how working on yourself can have that effect in your relationships in multiple dimensions. And the the core of all of that is you, because it's how it comes down to how you are showing up, right?
Yeah.
And in you showing up differently, the people, how people respond and interact with you will change as well. And that's what you found as well, right?
Yeah. Oh my God. I used to think, people used to tell me like, Khadijah's all this like likable and stuff, and maybe people said other bad things. But I didn't see that. I was like, what? Why are these people talking? They need to stop. They don't even know me. I don't know myself, but they don't know me. But once for example, I can give you an example. I was at work the other day and I made a mistake. I made a mistake and I felt like really bad about it. I didn't know like how I was gonna fix it. I was like, you know what? Let me get up and go talk to this lady and actually just be straight up honest. And I told her, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, and even though I'm not able to do whatever, I'm still going to help you, because that's at least what I can do. Now, I don't know what was going on in the back of her mind, but that doing that, I know that it changed the dynamic of the whole office or my whole team,
Wow.
because they don't look at me as a Muslima hijab, and this is a place of non-Muslims. They don't look at me as a Muslima hijabi. She's different. They actually want to include me in a lot of things that they do, and I'm like, uh, thank you. But like little by little, I'm like, this is something that I deserve, because I didn't disrespect anybody. I treated everyone equally. When I was disrespected, I announced it with respect to other people. So what do they have to give back? Respect.
Right.
So alhamdulillah.
Absolutely incredible.
Yes.
Absolutely incredible. You know how we do. We know how we celebrate.
Yep.
I'm toning it down for the people.
Yep.
So just kind of like, how do you see your future differently now? Because when, before you were on the program, you were in a particular mind and head and heart space, right? Now
Mhm.
that you've gone through the program, now that you've developed this internal shift and transformation for yourself, how do you see your future differently now?
I see my future as I see my future with a lot of possibilities and with a lot of I did, like me saying I did that, alhamdulillah.
Mm.
Um, I see myself using the gifts that Allah gave me to not only be a better person, but motivate others to be better. I've always been into the motivation thing, and I've always been like, you can do it, you can do it. But after having done this program, it's inside me. It's like it's there inside my heart,
I mean,
and so I can give that to someone else. It's not false. I don't just say you can do it and be like, but can you, Khadijah? No, I do it. I say it and I say, I did it, girl. You can do it too, and this is how.
yes.
Yep.
Love it. Oh my goodness. I absolutely love that. And you know, I think you're the third graduate to say that to me.
Hmm.
To say, I'm ready to change
Aw.
people's lives. I'm like, yes, come on, change people's lives.
You
That's
can't have all of this and not give it. You can't keep it to yourself.
that's wonderful. So if you were to use one word to describe the program and its impact on you, what one word would you use? What would the one word be?
Yeah, Allah. Phenomenal. What? If there's a bigger word than that, I'll use it too. But phenomenal is
I
what
don't,
comes to mind.
another one doesn't come to mind, but I'm grateful. I'm really
It's
grateful.
truly phenomenal. No joke. It's
It's,
not those ads on TV.
mm,
It's phenomenal.
mm. Oh,
Just click
you
the
know,
sign up button.
yeah.
Just do it. Do
So
that.
anyone, for anyone who's kind of like doubtful about starting
Hmm.
their transformational journey, what
Hmm.
would you, as someone who's gone through the door and come to the other side, what would you advise?
I would advise them to ask themselves, if you were still in this, how do you imagine yourself, I should say, how do you imagine yourself in the next 5 years?
Mm,
And if they answer is something that they don't want or something they don't even want people to see, then change needs to happen.
mm,
Um, I think also don't let your thoughts overtake you. Don't. It's not sometimes thinking is resourceful, but sometimes thinking affects you in a negative way.
yeah,
So this is one of the things that I would say just go on and do it.
yeah,
Just do it.
yeah. And it's so good to speak with you. It's so good to speak with you. And for anyone watching this, truly, Khadijah, just she's normal like you. Sometimes we feel it's easy to feel like, oh, she has to be super this or have super that or have this or have that in order to get the results that in her life. But she's just like you and I, a woman,
Wallahi.
just
Yep.
right. And you just you showed up, you decided, you made that decision, and you took action. And so, for anyone who identifies with anything that Khadijah has said today, honestly, it's as simple as booking that call, that breakthrough call with me and my team to see if we can support you to be able to create some of the results or some of your own results of transformation for yourself, because everyone's result looks a bit different, right? And that's what I love about the program. That's what I love about
Mm.
work, that we have the program and it's phenomenal, as Khadija said, right? But everyone's
Indeed.
result is slightly different. And that's what I love. And so if you're ready to transform, and if you're ready to turn things around, if you're ready to move towards change, and if you're done with the place that you're in, just book a call with me and my team at layinkasanni.com/call, and we can support you, inshallah, by the grace of God, to get some phenomenal results in your life. And I just want to thank you, Khadija. It's been such an honor and a pleasure having you on the program. You are life for real, you know. I
Thank you,
know,
LaYinka. What?
I know at one point you were like, I think I need to tone it down. I was like, girl, don't tone nothing.
I remember that. Oh my God. And she was like, you're just like everybody else. Show up and be you.
Just be you. Be you. If it's hey, then it's hey, you know?
Yeah.
And I love that
Alhamdulillah.
you fully embraced yourself on the journey. And you got your results for yourself. And I'm sure that as you continue on, you'll continue to get the results because it's lifelong, right? It's a lifelong process.
Yes, it is. And the one last thing I want to mention is that a lot of us are, a lot of people are afraid of being vulnerable because it's like, what am I going to get in return? Shame.
Mm,
But not with this program. If you're vulnerable, it's only going to bring about beauty, beautiful things within yourself and outside of yourself. So if you feel like, I can't really, no, I don't like sharing my feelings, that's okay. But again, think about if that's really what you want, if that's the result that you want. And so now I actually have a saying that I tell my friends, and I tell them, vulnerability brings about beauty. And I think that's a fact.
Mm.
I think that's a fact.
Okay. That's
Shout out to LaYinka though, because without her, subhanallah, she was a big guide for us all, especially me. And the reason why I'm mentioning this vulnerability thing is because of her. Because she like pulled it out of me. She was like, I know it's there, just say it and I will help you. And she's really serious about what she says. She's honest. She's honest, and this whole program has integrity,
Oh,
and you can trust her. Alhamdulillah.
that
So may
means
Allah reward you with good.
I mean, and I pray that you just continue on in your journey in a beautiful way. You've made some massive strides, some massive strides, and I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you, and I just need to get my behind to the States so I can give you a real hug.
Oh yes, 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 yes. Or I could go to the UK. What?
Oh yeah, you come. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. It's been amazing. I'm so grateful.
Thank you.
We're gonna have to sit for a moment and cry over it with a cup of tea, just to
With
gather.
some Earl Grey tea.
You know, oh great, all the way, baby. Yeah, absolutely, just phenomenal. You're an amazing human being, and I'm so glad that you went on the journey to recognize that for yourself, and your children are going to just be supercharged with so much good in their life because they have a mom who understands, sees, knows, feels, and lives according to her worth. And that's priceless.
Yeah.
That's priceless.
Inshallah, yes. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you
Yes,
so
thank
much.
you so much.
And so for anyone else, like I said, if you're ready, I'm here for you. I've got you. Just book a breakthrough call with me and my team, and we can discuss the way forward for you, and what might be possible for you. Thank you so much, Khadijah, my love. It's been a pleasure. It's been
No
great.
problem at all.
And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you. All right. Take care, my lovely. Take care, everyone.